Hello, everyone. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy, but you know that this channel's all about creating journals to tell ancestral stories. And this is old Myrt's very first humongous, yep, look at that, humongous journal. Now, when we were working with Andy last week, I put in some of the foundation pages, but we're going to do the flip through right now. Notice that I made a decision to use a variety of stitching on the cover, make it kind of intriguing. I've added a tuck spot, which needed to be not sewn in because I wanted this decorative to show up. But there's tuck spot with 2 journaling cards. I've added some lace here and gratitude to kind of accentuate this little binder. There is our journaling card. There we go. All right, this thing is big. All right, here's a little flip, a single flip. This is from a very old book. I just kind of tore it. Kind of fun stuff. Here's a tuck spot with 2 journaling cards. You know, somebody asked me the other day, how am I making these tabs? And one of these centuries, I will find it and show it to you. Oh, yeah, here it is. So basically, I just cut it like this. Let's get some paper here and I'll show you. Oh. And then you just antique it and fold it over, and I just messed up. Sheesh. I've only cut 432 of these over the years. Well, I've only had this particular, it's called the whale tail, from Stampin' Up! For a while. I had to get it from eBay, and I paid a premium amount because they don't make it anymore. But I do have lots of other ideas for these little pull tabs. Anyway, that answers that. Let's go on. Okay, we have a flip here with place to journal. Now, I'm going to actually keep this journal and use it for myself, and I have a lot to say, which is a good thing. 3 journaling cards in this tuck spot, and a little bit more space to write a story. 3 more journaling cards in a tuck spot, and if you remove them all, there's room to journal. Okay, now I used my 4x4 squares from a little bit later on in this project to make a fold over tuck spot, and these are just sitting in here using this circular clip. And these are all journaling cards with space underneath in the old coffee dyed paper to do some journaling as well. Okay, so 2 more journaling cards, a little bit different kind of tuck spot. And this is actually a, excuse me, one of the labels. And I just took it up over the edge for interest because I wanted to highlight this little butterfly wing. Okay, this one I've wrestled with a lot. Should I do more to this author title library card and envelope? But I decided to leave it plain because I might want to put the author of something that I'm going to quote and what the title of it is, and then fill it out. I can remember getting a stamp and the borrower's name and our room number in elementary school. That would be Laurelhurst Elementary School. They're in Seattle, just down and due east of the University of Washington. Now, Andrew's the one that thought we should put some lace up here. It's glued down tight. The tuck spot works like this. This is actually a fold over tuck spot. It's a little bit different on this side, but still has a journaling card. And this one, I figured I could do it in this format because that's how it will come out of that little tuck spot. All right. Now, I told you a little bit ago that I had a project farther into this book that had 4-inch squares left, and this is where it is. First of all, got 2 journaling cards in this tuck spot, a little bit of lace. Okay. And I learned this from Gail Augustinelli. And as Andrew said, you got a family portrait. In this case, it's a bunch of guys. I think they are all in gymnastics or something, 1918, 1919. There's enough room to identify everybody, maybe do some write-up here about who won the long jump, etc. Now, we fold these in. We have to fold this part in next because it has this little slot where we can then cause this to close. There we go. Just fits perfectly. Okay. I went crazy with the little labels of Tracy Fox's. Okay, this is the little flip right here. And this is the part to journal. And kind of went crazy with the lavenders here. I think of lavender as being an old-fashioned thing. I remember my grandmother, Tatum, who's my step-grandmother, would put her her vintage glass, well, it wasn't vintage at the time, up on the roof of her home in Apache Junction, Arizona, and the depression glass would turn lavender, which was just delightful. I don't have any of that, but I digress. And Andrew got a big kick out of this belly band. He's like, how is it that these things don't fall out? Well, there's no gusset. It's just glued here on the sides. And as long as you put enough thick cards underneath it, they stay in place. More room to journal. Here we have a flip. And I added a little bit of cheesecloth. I don't know if you can see that in this view. All right, there's a space to journal, and I can tell stories all around this. And this is, in fact, a real dried flower from my press. This one's actually about 2 years old, and it's still quite brilliant. Anyway, let's turn the page. Plenty of room to tell a lengthy story here. 2 journaling cards to tell the denouement, the tying together of loose ends. Throughout this journal, I've used these circular paper clips to help hold in these 4x4 squares that I took from that fold-out gymnasium portrait thing. I found a use for one of my pretty little posies that I make out of little circles and maybe a rhinestone or a pearl or something like that. This fits in here nicely. It goes with the colors. I'm happy with that. Couple of more journaling cards. I try to put 2 or 3 in each tuck spot. This should have been a journaling card, but it's real thick and has a lot of stitching around it. So I decided to make it the tuck spot just to be intriguing, I guess. This one I just finished. In fact, the glue's probably still wet. So as a spread of 2 pages, it looks pretty interesting. But watch what happens when you pull this. You end up with a tuck spot with 2 cards and 2 places to journal. And then we'll pull it out, and I've got to slide this over so you can see it. Some more places to journal. Lots of places for old Myrt to tell it like it is, how she remembered things. All right. I'm kind of proud of that kind of surprising little little fold out, fold out, fold out kind of a thing. Okay. Now this is a 2-part. The basis for this with the brown paper bag at the top is intriguing. I wanted to have just a rectangular or square over the fold. The problem is that this particular paper is very noticeably lettered and numbered. So what I had to do was take the longer piece, cut it in half, add this for a little interest at the top with the old paper lunch bag, and embellish it just a little bit. This can be a tiny, teeny, tiny journaling card. I left it loose. All kinds of interesting things to look at. All right, and then here it is on the other side with the numbers going the correct way because of having to cut that paper in half. And on the back cover, again, we've got a tuck spot. This is just like the front side. I chose not to embellish. I thought it was pretty busy. And old Myrt's, learning to do this kind of embellishment. I am used to doing 2 or 3 or 4 pages at the most, so this is a great experience for me, and I don't wanna let it go because I'm kind of happy with it. The way that they are joined, and I probably won't do it if I ever do this again with so many pages, they're joined like a traveler's notebook with elastic on the rolled edge, and at any point I could decide to sew these in, but I think I'll have fun with this the way it is. So if you like what you see on this channel, please consider subscribing and then hit the bell and pick the top bell so you can receive all the notifications whenever I get creative in my craft room. Nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing and journaling, everybody. That's